last week, if you caught our podcast, we dedicated our podcast to our lost legend, our dear brother, Kobe Bryant. And it was an emotional one, especially for me. So you probably see me crying last time. But today I'm here to smile. I'm here to cheer. I'm here to lift his name up in another way, rocking the Mamba Academy. Yes, sir, representing Kobe out here. Me and the boys had some joints, got some picks up some joints. The whole family actually got some Mamba mentality gear from there. So that's going, the proceeds is going directly to the victims of the crash on January 26th, where we lost 9 angels, if you will, for the Los Angeles city of Los Angeles. So, but I like to say I'm feeling a lot better. The mood is a little bit different. It's moved from somber in the city to a little bit more celebratory for the man Kobe, although it is still hard to watch a few things and to imagine that he's actually gone. But I can't say it's not as heavy and dark as it was for the last week and a half previous to our cast. So feeling a lot better about that. How about you guys? I'll swing it to y'all for a minute. In retrospect or in hindsight from the last cast, how y'all feeling about Kobe and what's the feedback y'all getting from the actual podcast? I'm gonna go to Dale first.
I am still. It still just don't seem real that Kobe is gone. That we're talking about him in the past tense. I think that it's, and furthermore, I'm really disappointed that, his name is trending now for all of the wrong reasons, instead of celebrating him, talking about his accolades, his success, and everything that he's done, as of recently, and just, how you remember people when they're gone, you talk about all the good things, but, when you search his name now, all you're seeing is Gayle and Oprah and that bullshit. So I just hated that it's gotten to that point, man, and everybody is wasting their energy talking about the rape situation. So I just think that sucks, and that's unfortunate, man.
Yeah,
lift that brother's name, give him praise.
Yeah, man. That's how about we do this? We also talk about Kobe, a little bit of Gayle King in it, and see how you guys, good brothers, feel about the things that were said. How about brother Jason Fears? When we go to you.
Well, when my first initial reaction was, I was kind of like, if y'all saw what Snoop said, like, man, fuck that bitch for saying some stupid shit like that. Not right now. It's too sensitive. You got the close friends and family. Vanessa, his wife, could be seeing that. But then I kind of backed off of that after, I got some background, and I know a lot of these networks. It's bad journalism out here nowadays. And I know these networks, they thirsty for ratings. They thirsty to get a rise out of people. And I do believe, not excusing Gayle, but I do believe there was an agenda from the network to continue that negative kind of tone towards Kobe. And they used her as a pawn, and she fell right into the trap. Now, whether she allowed herself to fall into that trap or it was 50-50, they used her, and she fell for it. So, and that's what they do. That's what these networks do.
Real quick, I just wanted to ask you, do you feel it's like she's falling for it, or does she have a job to do? Her executives probably gave her some things that they wanted her to ask, and she was doing her job. I mean, could it have been as innocent as that?
Well, that's why I said 50-50. I think it was like, well, I don't want to do it, but since you're asking me to do it, I got a job to do, so I'm going to go ahead and ride it on out. You know what I'm saying? Mid-show. I mean, I don't know who was behind the camera like, hey, ask him this, ask them this, ask her this right now. And she kind of was like on the spot, or if they had a meeting about what they were going to ask, which I'm pretty sure that they did. But either way it goes, it was very insensitive. And I actually think I don't even really want to give her that much airtime. I think Lisa Leslie handled the questions brilliantly. I think she was very professional. I think she spoke from the heart. And I think that's what needed to be done. And she brought up some good points. But, you know, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say this, Dale. Anytime someone, especially in that light, you know, they're going to bring up the negatives, you know. But I think that's what made Kobe who he was, brilliant, was the fact that he was a human being, man. He wasn't perfect. He made mistakes. He bounced back. He rebounded from that. And you know, let's move on. Like Lisa Leslie said, you had plenty of years, over 10 years, to ask these questions, you know, that you wanted to ask, or do some research and find out what's going on. I think it was bad taste, but I put a lot of blame on the network because I think they were behind that.
Well, I agree with that too. I agree with that.
And the crazy thing, and you're right, you know, that is a part of his legacy. That's a part of his story, and it is what it is. The fact of the matter is, Kobe had a rape allegation against him, and it's going to be brought up. My thing is, in terms of Gayle, I think the timing of it was completely insensitive. You know what I'm saying? Like, the man ain't even buried yet. Yeah. You know, people are still grieving. Like, his daughter is old enough to read and follow what's going on in the midst of her trying to grieve her father passing. You know, they got to deal with this shit. And I just feel like it's insensitive. So it's going to be brought up, but I just don't feel like bringing it up right now is the time. Like, I mean, give it a couple weeks, give it a few more weeks, months, whatever, bring it up then. But right now.
Let me ask you this too. Let me jump in and just playing devil's advocate.
Oh.
Did she deserve the backlash that she got doing her job?
Yes.
Because I mean, like we got Snoop almost pretty much trying to call the goons after her, like type.
Snoop was out of line, but she deserved the backlash. Sure.
But that was out of line. Check did, man. So the problem is not necessarily how Gayle came after Kobe, but the problem is Gayle and Oprah isn't going after, you know, Weinstein and people like this. It's like, why are you attacking our people? That was the whole, you know, some message behind it. Like, they keep coming after us, from the Michael Jackson, you know, R. Kelly, you know, these are our Black, you know, people who we've always been behind, and we never heard not one thing about Harvey Weinstein or any other, you know, Caucasian or white person who's been caught up in, you know, these type of scandals. So I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's like, why
I didn't feel like Gayle was attacking him though. I was upset as well.
That's the issue, bro.
It was an attack.
She followed up. She followed up like 3.
Listen, it's journalism. Like we all know, Gayle she's a seasoned veteran. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to appreciate a little bit of that as well. My only issue with Gayle was the fact that she didn't know that ABC was going to do this. That idea that they didn't think they was going to take this one little soundbite and use it. I just don't believe that.
Naz, you just said she's a seasoned veteran. She knew what she was doing.
This idea that she's I'm trying to answer I'm not answering a question, but I'm trying to direct this question to the statement that you made, that that she attacked him, like somehow was attacking him by asking her these questions that she agreed to sit down and answer. Like, I didn't feel like she necessarily attacked Kobe. She asked some questions that she was probably told to ask, which is, this did happen. What do you think about it? That wasn't attacking him. I don't believe that she was attacking him. Like this, like some kind of, she wrote this. Like,
he was insinuating
this interview just to do this to his legacy. I don't believe that.
She was insinuating, because Lisa Leslie said, like, hey, like, that's not in his character, and she just kept pressing on, like, well, you wouldn't think that that's in his character because you're friends with him, Lisa. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because in journalism, you're supposed to do a follow-up question. I had this conversation with my cousin, who's an attorney that was here this weekend. And what she was saying is, as a journalist, your job is to do follow-up questions. You can do the easy, you know, alley-oop to give you like, oh, what do you think? Oh, you didn't think he did it? Okay, I ain't gonna press you. Or you can be a journalist and say, well, you know, you are his friend, maybe you would have never seen that side of him because he may have never shown you that side. Maybe Hernandez, maybe you didn't see that part of him. So she was just doing her job.
I get that because I've heard from a number of journalists who don't see anything wrong with what she did. They're speaking just like you, journalistic integrity, all that shit. Like she was just doing her job. But on the flip side, I feel like if you're seasoned like she is, and she's a journalist, then I feel like that you need to have some level of sympathy in the consideration when you ask those questions. She could have inquired about this in a better way, I feel like. And I feel like she failed miserably.
Yeah. And at the same time, you know, by her being Gayle King, who has a name, Oprah's best friend, she could have gave pushback to the network, said, you know what? I'm not going to talk about that in this interview. That's what she should. That's what she should have done. You know what I mean? Because it ain't like Gayle's a millionaire. It ain't like she necessarily needs that job. Let's be honest.
I agree with that.
So that's my issue. Like I hate that, man. Like
I ain't gonna. Hey, I don't want to take away from the seriousness of the conversation.
Yeah,
we talk about Snoop's scarf though.
His scarf.
His scarf game was better than Gayle. I think that's the real beef. You know what I'm saying? Oprah was a little jealous too because Snoop can smoke and he wears scarves and he he actually almost caused a national security incident because
he threatened
Susan Rice? Was that her name? She was the former attorney general, like that.
Man, what Snoop did could be perceived as a threat if you really want to keep it real.
She was a public official. He would definitely be under investigation.
Yeah. But I wanted to chime in back with what Nas said. When it comes to journalism, I mean, you can go through history. I remember when Pete Rose was at the Reds game and Jim Gray was asking him, and I mean, he was on him. Nobody liked it, but those are the questions that need to be asked. Like Nas said,
life or death.
It's death, right?
We're talking about death.
This man ain't been dead a week, and she coming up.
Listen, man, journalism ain't about that. It's about trying to find a fine line between what a story is and the truth. And so you have to be unbiased in that. And you have to be. She has to go in there, even though Gayle has already said that she admired him, she loved him, she liked him. They had a decent relationship. So I don't feel like it was like this. Like she plotted with ABC, like let's get this cat, like let's get this.
Right. Nas, let me ask you this.
Listen. She had an option to either go forward with the questions that it ain't like they came to her right before the interview and handed her some questions. This was a thought out thing, and I agree with you, Lo, that maybe as a person she could have stepped away and been like, look, I'm not gonna ask that. Like I as a person, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not saying I shouldn't do it. I just not gonna do it myself.
Let's just keep it a buck. All that is, it comes back down to the numbers. It comes back to the ratings. It comes down to the sound bites. You know what I'm saying? That's all it really is. And unfortunately, it's been, our good brother has been reduced to that, not even in the damn grave yet. So however you want to spin it, it wasn't right. It wasn't the right timing. And it's the way that she could have stepped out of it. So speaking of putting up numbers, man, let's transition into some songs because I want to make sure that we left off on some really, really high, good stuff from Kobe. So I want to keep it there. I don't want to go back with the Gayle shit. I don't even want to get out that much, much more light. You know what I mean? She was wrong. But what I know Kobe for was putting up numbers, man.
Bucket.